Hello, everyone. HR Open House 1 is once again back with another panel discussion on interesting topic in HR domain. HR Open House 1 is a 5-year-old HR fraternity where many people from the HR domain has become part of our group. We are working in pan-India level on various geography location within India, and we have multiple people from HR domain who are part of our group. I, Rajni Das, as a core team member and the chapter admin from HR Open House 1, and also a talent acquisition specialist with NICE, welcome you all. HR Open House 1 is once again back with another interesting panel discussion on compensation. Past couple of years, we have spoken about compensation equality, compensation benchmarking. Now we'll cover an important aspect of compensation and employee benefit changing trend. On behalf of entire core team, HR Open House 1 and our founder, Mr. Ketan Kapoor Bhakri, we would like to welcome all the esteemed members of today's session. To begin, we have Mr. Mayank Tandon, Specialist Compensation and Benefit International, NICE Limited. Mayank is a certified compensation and benefit professional, over 13 years of industry experience, and has worked with companies like Aon Hewitt, Ericsson, and his cross-industry experience is going to bring on the table exceptional knowledge and designing and managing compensation. Moving ahead, we have Mr. Rajiv Sethia, Head Compensation and Benefit and People Analytics from Persistent System. Mr. Rajiv has 24 plus years of experience in IT industry. He started his career from IT delivery, where he has handled various portfolios from project management to program management. His deep interest in people analytics has added feather to his hat and enabled him to take a new leap in HR domain. His versatile experience is going to bring the point of view of both business and the enablers at the same time. We have Mr. Shripati Acharya, Vice President, Total Rewards, Performance Management System and HR Shared Services from Mastec Limited. Mr. Shripati Acharya is a result-driven, self-motivated professional with more than 20 years of rich experience in various gamut of HR and leading global center of excellence. He is a planner and with expertise in designing and leading the global HR shared services. He has demonstrated competencies in enhancing system and process operation, optimizing resources and capacity utilization. An energetic and enterprising leader with abilities of motivating team towards optimizing their contribution level. He has a deep-rooted knowledge about analytics, planning, and organizational skill. Moving next to Mr. Sudarshan Bose, an Associate Director, Deloitte Consulting. He has advised several large and mid-cap organizations on matters related to compensation, performance, organization design, and career development. He brings a blend of advisory, implementation, and change management expertise. He acquired through corporate consulting experience in BFSI and IT technology space. He is a postgraduate in human resource management from XLRI Jamshedpur and holds a bachelor's in engineering from Punjab Engineering College. Today, to run the show, we have with us Ms. Shraddha Subramanian. She is an award-winning business and executive coach, India's first intuition expert and creator of jackpot method for business. She believes everything you desire is available now. And with her intuition, she can identify a deep-rooted subconscious block in just 3 minutes. She has served over 3,500 hours of coaching experience, and she has impacted the life of almost 7,500 people in 21 different countries. She worked with countries' top 5 business owners and CEO in the various industry. She loves to make coaching very innovative and disruptive. So now, me taking much of your time, let us hand over the baton to our panel. Over to you, Shraddha.
Thank you so much, Rajni. We all enjoyed our introduction, so thank you so much for doing that for all of us. I welcome all the esteemed guests today. Really looking forward for an interesting, innovative, contributive conversation and setting an intention once again here as we are paving the pathway for not only people in the compensation and the benefits area today, but then in the future, this conversation, I expect that will help people to define, think, get more perspectives, and the brainstorming that we're going to do today is going to help them in various ways. So let's begin. The first question for today is about the proactive and the reactive healthcare benefit. I'm sure you all must have got different kinds of requests during the pandemic and now post-pandemic. How are you taking care of this benefit given to employees? And also an important aspect that do you see a morale boost when you talk about specifically the healthcare benefit that you're ready to offer as part of the compensation to them? So I go in the alphabetical order first, in the reverse manner now, and I will ask Sudarshan to share his views about it.
No, thanks for that, Shraddha. I mean, we can go in any order possibly, but to try and tackle what you asked, see, very honestly, if you look at the employee sentiment on where they are coming from and what they value, there are two, three things that stand out. The first is as an employer, where are you playing, which set of talent are you attracting, and what kind of compensation overall do you pay to them, right? I mean, if you are someone who pays out of the roof anyway, then possibly some of the things that you are talking about get muted. But if you are someone who's balancing priorities and also trying to ensure that within what I can spend, if 100 is what I can spend and I can't cross that 100, then how do I kind of make that basket broad based and open, and yet, I mean, forward looking, market facing? That's where the complexity really comes in. And to that extent, to try and address the question to that specific focus group of employers, you will notice that employees obviously value these benefits a lot more after the pandemic. Things have changed, definitely. In fact, to that extent, employees not just look at wellness or insurances or flexibility, they also start looking at how the employer cares and what kind of affiliations, associations does the employer form, what kind of informal groups are there in the organization. One part of it, if you look at the larger architecture, is before 3 months or 2 months before my joining, what is it that I'm looking at as an employee? The larger part to look at is that 3 months, 6 months into the organization, what is it that I start searching for? Because that's where a large part of the attrition that companies mostly see, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months. Mostly one would want to believe that if someone has stayed for 18 or 24 months, the person by and large understands and agrees or kind of aligns to the culture, the philosophies, the systems, architecture, and thereon it's more of a discussion of opportunities for which one may leave tomorrow. But for that alignment, you will notice that beyond insurance, and that's where possibly I leave it to the other panelists also, that one looks a lot more towards how the employer cares at the core, not just through monetary benefits, but also as a larger initiatives or opportunities that they create within the workplace. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much, Sudarshan. Over to you, Shripadi, for your contribution on this question.
Yeah, thank you, Shraddha. So in addition to Sudarshan, what we have mentioned that, so currently post-pandemic, this benefits is being made focus, all companies are focusing, and also, so yeah, entire employee community is looking for the enhanced benefits what currently is offering. Anything new we are offering to the table. So that's our expectation currently, even from the laterals or new employees. So they're asking for a more, so ask questions during the hiring. So as a part of our employee value proposition and post-pandemic, so you wanted to ensure that you wanted to give best to the offering to the employees. In the past, company was very focusing on cost reduction, where you want to put a lot of restrictions on the copay or any illness, we used to put the capping. Now we are extending that, we are removing all that capping and extending that entire 100% is payable, what is being agreed as a 5 lakh cover or something, and increasing the top up, and also ensuring that higher corporate cover is being buffer is being taken, so that we can offer if it is excess over and above the top up and this thing, we are extending to the employees so that they will not get the pain during this pre or post pandemic because they already undergone very toughest challenge in the life cycle. So we are extending that. Even term life, we are extending from earlier fixed amount like 10 lakhs and all. So now we are going with 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times the salary which is excellent for the family to take care in case of uneventuality, so that it can be taken care. People are looking for way beyond the industry benefits is a way focus. In addition to that, employee are looking for mental health. So a lot of, even after pandemic, so we have seen a lot of more calls are being registered in our counselors. So a lot of people, even post pandemic has impacted more number of people are taking the advisory role. So there is also more focus. Employees are extending, they're coming out and taking the help from the counselors. So that's where we are extending at the free of cost, so that they can able to take the benefit of it. That's it from my end.
Got it. Thank you so much for these valuable inputs, Shripati. Rajiv, if you want to go ahead and share.
Yeah. So see, as part of total reward, benefits, wellness was always kind of there. But pandemic has given a focus, has kind of now given a focus to the benefit and the wellness, which was earlier was not so much, right? As you all know, we have now realized the importance of healthcare, right? How important it is. Healthcare, both kind of in terms of managing our health, but also kind of managing our healthcare expenses also. Right? So healthcare insurance is becoming very, very important. Right? Next, even kind of a wellness. So wellness was always there in a lot of kind of a companies, and it was done in some pockets. Right? Now there is a very structured focus on the wellness, because that's what even all the employees are also expecting. Right? So we have spent almost kind of a 2 years in home, and we were so conscious about the health, right? That consciousness about the health has continued now that we are back in office as well, right? So in fact, we have a dedicated wellness expert on our road, right? So earlier it used to happen in pockets, right? But now we have a dedicated wellness expert on our road. We have a fully published kind of a wellness calendar. So there are multiple kind of events which keep on happening, and all these events are both in person as well as kind of a virtual. Okay? And these events are not just available for employees, they are also available for families as well. Okay? Now, for all these events, employees and families are ready to kind of pay for it also, right? Now, why it is important for company is, it is important for company because this kind of brings a connect with the employees. When in today's world, when pretty much everyone is working remotely, right? There has to be a mean of connecting with the employees, right? So that is another reason why wellness is becoming so important, right? Not just it is an ask coming from an employee, and not just because this is something which employee want, but it also kind of a helping company in building that bond with the employees. Apart from health and wellness, another big kind of a change is the way in which people are prioritizing their work and life. Right? So again, a big change as far as overall way of looking at the importance of the life. People are focusing a lot on how they can make a good balance between life and the work. Now, what we have done for it is definitely people are looking for a lot of flexibility. People are also kind of looking for reason why they should be back in office, right? So that's another topic, big topic. We can keep it for later, right? But the flexibility is what people are looking for. People are looking for the life beyond kind of a work, right? So even when we are kind of coming up with our EVP, right, we are putting a lot of emphasis on how the employee would be treated, how the employee would spend his or her time in office. Right? The new office that we recently opened last week, we have a futsal kind of a turf within our office. Right? So we always used to have the gyms and the badminton court, but futsal is a new thing that we brought in. because this is what the employees of today are looking for. Right? So yeah, it has changed, and I think it has changed for good.
I too believe that. And thank you so much for sharing light and different perspectives and aspects that you shared, Rajiv. Moving on to Mayank, Mayank, go and share your thoughts about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. In fact, many of the points is already being covered by all the panelists, but I would say that what has changed is now the proactive reaction on the healthcare benefit. We normally see that in the past, the companies are not doing the benefits benchmarking. Now the companies are very prominent in spending money on doing a benefits benchmarking. Beyond insurance, healthcare, term life and all, they are thinking about having an EAP services, which normally in India was not very common. If you see in 2017-18, we hardly have a EAP services for India, and Indian people were using it. But what we have seen that we have implemented that a lot of my ex-colleagues, my friends into a similar industry, they also have implemented it. They have seen a huge traction towards the employee and their families are talking about. So this, if I'll say that the new age benefit has grown post-pandemic. Employer knows that the traditional way of giving something just to have benefit will not work for it. Bringing employee back to work require a lot of effort. That what Rajiv has mentioned, and I add to it, this is the biggest challenge all of us are facing. So what we do, we are drafting a wellness calendars, we are drafting in wellness activities, we want employee to be adjusting in an office campus with their family. Those all activities which we are trying, and we are trying to motivate employee to come back. So I think in the near future also it is not going to change, and in fact this is going to grow. If I'll say in a layman language also, now even the employers understand that the employees are pretty much important. Their healthcare is also equivalent important. So pandemic has taken up a lot of things from us, but it has given us a huge lesson that the life is the most important thing, and we all have to care about it. So from our side, individual things what we can do, and the companies has to focus on to give to attract and retain people with the one of the best benefit, and they have to budget and spend money. So I would add, I would like to thank all the panelists to giving their views, but I would think that we all have to think beyond the traditional way of doing it and be more smart in giving the benefits to our employees. Thank you.
Awesome, Mayank. Thank you so much. So I think it's very clear that the focus is there on the wellness, and the focus is not going away. Rather, the innovative ways of sharing this benefit of wellness in various forms. Rather, it could be engaging the employees, the association of the organization and the employee, including their families, so that they feel connected. So it's like a close-knit space for them, and also offering them what could be the best possible way of taking care, as well as a preventive health care as well along with it. Beautiful. It's been immense pleasure to listen to the thoughts, because it's one of the areas, as Mayank rightly said, the pandemic has taught us that life is the most important thing. The deliverables and everything is after that. If the life is there, everything is possible, and that's going to happen. So yeah. I really admire it. Let's move on.
If I can add, like you just kind of talk about the importance of family also. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So that is again a change that I am kind of seeing. Right? Today, there are a lot of requests for having a coverage. Right? So traditionally, employer used to provide a coverage for family, which is like spouse and children, and might be in some cases even the parents. Now, employees are looking for the coverage which is beyond the normal definition of family, covering the siblings, covering the parent-in-laws, right? In fact, we are thinking about even introducing the pet insurance, because that's how kind of a lot of people see their kind of a family, right? So the importance to the family is another kind of a thing which has happened post-pandemic.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. This is really the space where we are bringing the close-knit association as much as possible, because we all say that the office or the organization is the second home for the employee, and then you are really trying to make it happen. It's really beautiful to see, and I'm sure this is going to be a great thought that will create so much. for the employees for sure. So moving on to the next question that we have here is, as per your opinion, which component of the compensation has really grabbed the attention to retain people in the organization? So for this, I would want Shripati to go ahead and answer that first.
Thank you, Shraddha. What I feel best component where people are looking from the retention perspective is niche skill elements, which is prominently each of the industry is looking for. And also that's where we can differentiate the skill and pay for performance. Okay, and as a part of our in the industry practice, so we also have created a skill library. Each of the employees, what they are having the skill, needs to have that the skill database and proficiency level of them. And in case they are using that particular, we identify every 6 months. So identify, for example, we have identified about 25 skills which we are using it predominantly, which we feel that such a niche skill which is highly payable in market, and we need to reward people like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, AWS, and all. So we identified the skills which is always catching the employee, and also while hiring, we also give them. And I'll give them clear this thing. If you have this kind of skills, you will be giving you premium, and only as and when you are working on that particular skill with that project. And we review that every 6 months, whether that candidate is working on that particular project. So they're going to get on a monthly payout. So that's really catching. And also, as you are aware, we want the organization wants people to upskill and grow. So based on the technology need in the industry. So that is a focus where learning and development team is pushing in a rigorous way, so that, and also since we are rewarding for them to when they are using this skill, a lot of employees are looking forward to enroll them for upgrading them skills. And when the project comes, we are aligning them to that project, so they'll get rewarded more. It is also one of the retention strategy also, where we can learning, training, reskilling, and motivating the employees to take up the new role and new challenges, new growth aspects. So that's very much challenging is going on. That's my
So that's the skill-based compensation is something which is an important aspect, because that will encourage people to learn as well as perform in whatever project they are working on. Great. I would want to invite Mayank to share his thoughts around this.
Sure. So I think now the definition of compensation has changed a lot. So it becomes like everybody like to have a money which is for a long term. So now companies have started giving the long-term cash, attracting a talent like Shripati mentioned, that for the special skills which you use in your organization very commonly and you want to enhance them. So companies are spending a lot of money in giving them a higher education. So they're putting up huge budgets every year so that they can come up, go for the courses, whatever they want to, and they'll pay for it. Obviously, that is the retention strategy also, but obviously in a long run, the employee is enhancing his benefit. But most commonly, what I have analyzed with reading the reports and talking to many people is understand that the shares are playing a very vital role now. Companies have started giving the ESOPs to their employees. They are giving the stocks which can value up to a 50 lakh or a 40 lakh rupees to a mid-level management or a mid-level individual contributors. Again, so that gives employee a view that if you stay with us for next 4 years, you are with your regular growth within the organization, you are going to get an X amount, which is as huge as that you can afford anything after 4 years with that. So, and the joining bonuses, retention bonuses. So to attract and retain people, everybody wants a money to be there. And that's a long-term money which companies are investing. They're increasing their budget into it. And we'll see this trend happening more where the ESOP shares would be playing a very crucial role in the given future. All the companies, those who are listed or even those who are not listed also, they are giving a long-term cash kind of a thing, if I'll say that. They say that, okay, we'll give you an X amount after you complete 4 years with a certain level of performance. So for a special I'll say that a set of people, those who are very crucial within the organizations, decision makers, or revenue drivers, salespeople, those who get business for us, they all has been attracted with that, and they have been given a huge amount for a longer, and so that they should stay with us, because when they move out, they take a business also with us. So that's more important. Last aspect is the sales. So we have seen a change in the sales incentive strategy in the organization. It used to be very flat few years back, but now, since somebody talked also that the revenue is going down, and also that requires that how the incentives to be driven. So you need to put up more effort to get more money. So money is increasing with an effort. So we'll see that the long-term money is what I feel is that the companies are giving to their employees, and even the employees are looking for a long-term money now, so that they would be secured in future. After 4 or 5 years, they know that if they need money for any of their personal use, they have to stay with an organization, they'll be eligible to get that. That's my perspective in terms of what component of the pay is getting more popular in the industry now, especially the industry we all come from, the information technology, even it is product or services.
Thank you so much, Mayank, for your views. Moving on to you, Rajiv, but I want to add one more part to the question here. So what is the most important component you feel? Plus, do you see that how employees are perceiving now the benefits, with the change in the most important component per se, how they are perceiving it as well?
So I agree with Shripati and Mayank that skill has become very, very important, and skill allowance or skill bonus is playing a very, very important role today. Right? So that's one. Number two is especially in IT industry, with the kind of a demand that we have seen in last 1.5 year, it is becoming very, very important to have the retention of the people who are already with us, and that's where retention bonus, long-term incentive, whether it is in the form of cash or in form of ESOPs, right? Those are becoming very kind of important, right? And with hybrid working, the allowance for internet allowances and home offices allowances are again becoming a norm, right? Let me also talk about components which have kind of a not very relevant, or not many people are kind of now focusing on. Right? One is the location was one of the kind of a parameter for compensation, which is now kind of a diluted to a greater extent, right? Because people are working from anywhere. So earlier, we always used, the first question was to where the person is, and based on that we used to define the compensation, whether it is India or especially in US, there were a lot of differentiation across the location, right? So location as a factor for compensation has diluted, right? Similarly, people, as they are more aware about their finances, and they are kind of doing their financial planning on their own, the importance of the allowance like LTA, and also there is a lot of changes which has happened in income tax also. So components like LTA, or even for that matter PF and all, they are becoming less important. Again, I am not saying they are completely irrelevant, they are still very relevant, but people are trying to take a control of their financial planning, right? So which is again a good thing, but those are the components which are seeing less relevant with the current set of employees that we have.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Moving on to you, Sudarshan, for your perspective around the most important component that you feel which is trending in, as well as how do the employees perceive the benefit of the space of compensation now?
Yeah, no, thank you. Again, I mean, to speak at the end is always beneficial because you have heard perspectives. But let me try and kind of add value by saying, in reality, let me give you two data points. One is, imagine there was a news couple of months or maybe a year back which said that some company, the public news, that some company is offering white goods and nice bikes and fancy cars to some of the tech talent for them to join in. The headcount of that company is 0.27% of the largest IT services providers. But that information flows across the biggest newspapers, across all WhatsApp channels, across informal groups. What it creates is aspiration. So capability put aside, it creates an aspiration, what might be applicable to certain percentage of people, of 0.27 percentage people, of one of the biggest companies in the country, not all, right? Imagine the span and impact of that benefit. But whatever it impacts, it creates an aspiration. So one part is the aspiration, right? The second data point is, if you look at any individual, any person, the first part of the conversation, what you touched upon, there are three aspects to my life. One is a transaction, I buy milk, I pay my prices. One is a risk that something might happen to me and hence I need some protection. One is an aspiration, right? I mean, I possibly want to play a lot of good football, but I'm aging, and if I start playing football every day, I get hurt. That's a risk. So possibly I'll run and go to the gym, be fit as well, because eventually I wanted to be fit by playing my sport. So I get the fancy sport and aggressiveness also, I get my fitness also, and I try and balance out between what I can do, which is my capabilities, where I want to be, which is my aspiration, and how do I balance my risk. The first part of the conversation, you spoke a lot about the risks and hence the protection around insurances, wellness. You also spoke of aspiration. When Sripati started, he spoke of skill-based pay. He spoke of, people looking at careers and learning opportunities that come into play. Mayank at length spoke of ESOP, which is the biggest form of aspiration that you can create into people, to say that you are a part of our wealth creation journey, and that's where it starts, right? Rajiv in the previous session spoke about, I guess, some bit of wellness and benefits that they had created, including a turf possibly, where people can play and recreate. So that's where you try and marry some bit of aspiration, risk, as well as capabilities into the ground. When you look at compensation today, very specifically, I guess every component is attractive. Obviously, the components they have touched upon are definitely attractive. Even to that extent, any tax saving element becomes very attractive for employees, where they can choose to flexibly interest their compensation, right? Do you provide those 80C benefits or extended NPS kind of benefits, so that they can try and save as much they want to, or make the most benefit out of it? But possibly one different thing I noticed is, if some sort of employees are now getting bit of financial advice from the employer with regard to how they can grow their wealth, again ties back to aspiration only, but saying that without increasing your cost, if you can get a professional advisor to tell them how to invest into funds or SIPs and so on and so forth, it just adds a bit more value beyond the compensation element, because eventually all of them want to increase what they have in hand, right? That's where I take a pause.
Great, Sudarshan.
Rajiv,
Great
you saying something? Sorry,
summarizing.
Yeah. I was trying to add to Sudarshan, is that aspiration has gone to that level that now the employees came back and say that they want to have a car lease. Even the smaller organization, it used, post the GST came into an implementation, many companies have stopped giving that because of all the pros and cons with the GST thing. But post pandemic, we have seen that because the salaries, the income potential has gone so high to the employees, that everybody would like to have a good and a one of luxury car, they want to have it, and they come back and say that why not we have the car lease, and that too with no cap. So this is a new thing which I think going to increase some work for all of us. Even the associated BUs also, finance and the admin, has to put some effort to get that things in place now.
Yeah, great. I think very good perspective shared, and Sudarshan kind of put that in the buckets. What I understand is like, as a human nature, looking forward for growth, whatever the employer can provide to an employee, depending on the kind of growth the employee is looking forward for, maybe in terms of the financial space, in terms of the security for the risk that might happen, and obviously running their lives very well, moving from an ordinary to extraordinary to luxury and whatever it could be, and also creating that long-term wealth. Because I don't think that as long as the employee gets the growth, they would want to continue with the organization as per the aspiration, if that's happening. And it's very evident to see in all of your answers that you have been sharing with me and the panelists so far, is that it is becoming more and more important for an employer to see that close knit happening, to see that the growth is put up, as like an important placard showing the employee that, this is what we are ready to offer. And then obviously the retention, the engagement goes for a longer term, and that's what benefits the employee and the employer both. Very happy to see that. So moving on to our next question, which is about the rewards and recognition now. So in the hybrid model, I want to ask, like, how the rewards and recognition has changed. Has it moved on to a beneficial side, or you see that, okay, we are not able to do that more often the way we want it to be? So I would want to invite Sudarshan now to go ahead and share his thoughts first around this.
I guess I'll keep it simple because I get to start. So, I mean, I'll possibly not talk or integrate a lot of it. But very simply put, two things. One, I guess, what you look at as portals which encourage recognition will definitely and have found a lot of significance and continue to find significance. What is the usability of those portals? How easily can you access it? Like 3 days back, someone sent me a pulse or a vibe survey, which was not accessible on the mobile phone. So if you don't check my vibe on my mobile, then possibly I'm not filling that survey at all. So how easily and can people interact through the platforms is very important to ensure that what you call as recognition beyond the monetary part, the non-monetary recognitions, go and work very well. That's important and will gain prevalence, predominance, whatever you want to call it. The other part I genuinely feel because of hybrid somewhere has got lost is that 5 years back, 6 years back, when you used to do a great project and come back and meet someone, either we come back or our teammates come back, and that entire congratulation and celebration about doing a good job within 3 or 4 set of people in itself is a huge recognition. That's a feeling of success, accomplishment, and possibly people will cherish it over a lunch or something. That part really goes away with this hybrid approach. I'm not completely though, obviously when you meet to try and interact. But now meeting is more like telling people, making a plan for a Friday and then catching up. Versus earlier, it used to be a very obvious thing that all of us are in office. It's a Thursday or Friday. We will catch up, and there will be times. And in that process, you'll try and appreciate someone else's efforts in the group, which is where recognition used to happen a lot more on the field. So that goes out of the room, and hence how interactive are the platforms possibly is the balance that we'll continue to look for.
Great, fantastic, awesome. Shripati, you want to go about it?
Yeah. So rewards and recognition is picking up faster because we did the employee engagement survey a couple of years back and also in the recent the Great Place to Work. So where we saw we are not utilizing appreciating people rewards and recognition, and where that is very much required for any managers to motivate people. It can be in terms of cash or any appreciation or anything like that. So it is a more focus needs to be given because our score on employee engagement, especially in the R&R, was very low, and we have taken a decision to enforce top-down approach and making that people should reward and recognize. And we have moved away from the payroll rewards and recognition, where we used to process the monetary part to the payroll, so that we have moved out to R&R platform, which is available in the industry, various portals. So we have gone that, and it has gone doing very, very phenomenal job. And people are appreciating well, and it is through the app, they can instantaneously recognize the points, they can share it, appreciate it. And it's like a social media, it's spread like anything. And people are getting that wow effect. Earlier, only that appreciation was limited to only their team members or a department. Now, entire organization is able to know what they have done it. So that's really motivating people and also budget has gone up. Earlier in the industry, we used to follow 0.5% of wage costs. So now we are moving to up closer to 1% of wage cost. We are funding that money into R&R. So it's also engaging managers to with employee and also recognizing them, and also it plays a key role in the retention also, and from a long-term perspective. So that's what take away from my end.
Great, thank you so much, Shripati. Mayank?
Sure. Yeah. I agree to both the panelists in that case, but I have a second thought into it. Like everybody said that this all the app-based platforms. So I think this pandemic has given a good business opportunities to these startups, those who have this rewards and recognitions. And I believe when I used to meet some of these in the pre-pandemic situation, it was really tough to make the business or a leadership understand that it may make a difference. Like you have a platform where employee will incur a point, they can go ahead and reimburse it the way they want to. But pre-pandemic, the RNR is all digital. And I say that it used to be money which is directly being processed through a payroll. It is like 2,000, 3,500 rupees or something like that. But now it has been changed. The employee looks after some of the if I'll say a white good or a coupon kind of thing, they are more interested in, because the online shopping has picked up. They say that, okay, if I'm getting a cash, that requires a taxation and all other things, though the coupons also attract some type of tax after certain limits. But with this, the expectation of the employee in the RNR has changed. Eventually, the overall role of RNR has also, I feel, has gone down, because the expectation totally in terms of reward has changed to the employees. They look after like everything should be like to get money out of it, short-term monies, or getting a shares, what I talked about previously. When you say that, okay, if you do a good job, we'll give you 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees, Amazon vouchers, they don't even worth about it now, because they say that it's more like to appreciate me with nothing. Last thing, if I'll say that with Sudarshan, now we stopped celebrating what we do, or we stopped appreciating what we do, because we all are in a hybrid mode. Many of us came back to office also, but the large population is still sitting at home and working. So the importance of this touch has been gone out. We celebrate, we come out to the Zoom call, Teams call, and say that, okay, you have done a great job, we'll send something to your home. But the feeling of getting rewarded within your team, with some of the leadership sitting out there speaking something about what the good you have done, it has a better impact as compared to what we are doing it right now. So pandemic has taken this aspect to a downside, looking into a many aspect into a upside, like a benefits and all. But yes, it will ideally, should people should understand this thing, that and the organizations are thinking that RNR was always important, because if you're not going to reward the good work being done by your employees, uh, slowly and steadily in the long run, it will impact you badly. But we'll see that. I will not go to a conclusion right now, but how it is going to be in the future, because if you'll go to office back in a hybrid model or a full-fledged like we used to go it in 2 years back, then it may pick up again. If it be remain the similar way what we are doing it, because the employee expectations are very high to come back to office now. So I would say that the RNR will take a back step in compared to the other benefits, if I'll say that.
Got it. Thanks, Mayank, for your
Thank
view.
you.
I think it's evolving at this stage. The word I
That's
would
correct.
forward for this is evolving. The RNR would evolve as we take different pathways, either it is hybrid or in person back again.
Correct.
Fantastic. Rajiv, over to you.
So, so Shraddha, like uh, RNR or recognition in form of hikes, increment, promotion is always kind of a there. So let me talk about something which are kind of a now evolving, or the new things that I am seeing. One, as someone has said, right, upskilling is important, not just for employer, but even employees are considering kind of upskilling themselves, because skills kind of is playing a big role. Right? So we have tried kind of incorporating the same even in our RNR. So instead of giving a cash or just some white good, what we are giving to the employees are the credit for the online learnings like Coursera and Udemy, right? Which is being appreciated by employee, and there is no restriction as to what courses they can take. Right? They are free to take any kind of courses they want on this platform. Right? So that is one. Right? So giving the credit for upskilling or for the online kind of a learning. Second thing is that touch, right? That the experience you give to the employee, because we are now all working remotely or in a hybrid way. Right? So one thing that we have done for our set of kind of employees whom we want to recognize was to give them a luxury lunch with their family, and which was highly kind of appreciated. Right? So this was a luxury lunch with family, which on their own they might have not kind of done it. Right? So what we did is we offer them a luxury lunch in any kind of a restaurant they want, right? No restriction, right? Anywhere in the city, they can choose a restaurant. There would be a person who will make all the arrangement. There would be a luxury chauffeur-driven car which will come to pick them up along with their family. Have a very specialized arranged kind of a table with them there. They will be given a gift, a bouquet. Photo will be taken, framed in a very high quality frame and given to them. And so that is a kind of a experience we created for the employee. And this was something which was highly kind of appreciated. And so these are some of the new ways of recognizing the employees which we are trying out.
Great, awesome. I think there's a lot of innovation going on in the compensation space. Here, I feel that compensation, possibly before the pandemic, was a dry topic. Like we had set of things, we had to divide the percentages, and I think that's it. Like most of the conversations were there. Obviously, there was brainstorming done, but then now, post pandemic, the way it has shifted big time in like what Mayank was saying was it has given us so much, the pandemic has given us so much to think about, to actually prepare ourselves and also give the best to our employees in
lot of things have changed post pandemic, right? In terms of the priorities of the employees, even especially in IT kind of a job market, even the demand has kind of gone up. So employers are trying to do a lot of things to retain and attract the talent. So yeah.
True. I think that brings my next question about the attrition part of it. Like, irrespective of the fact that the employer is trying to engage and put the best foot for their employees, there is still an attrition part which needs to be handled, So what do you think about this aspect of trying to provide everything, not providing everything, but then still there is an attrition part which needs to be taken care? I think we can start with you, Rajiv, because you had already initiated that space.
Okay. Yeah, so we are, I think we talked about a lot of things. And as I said, like a lot of it has a aspect of retention also, like how you ensure that employee is more engaged, try to kind of see what is their kind of a priority and try to channelize your cost as well as energy uh, in a direction where the priorities of the employees are. Another thing which we are trying to do, especially for the retention, is also give them a flexibility, because one thing which is coming out is that everyone is looking for a flexibility. Flexibility, not just in terms of the how they want to get their compensation, right? Flexibility in selecting the benefits that they want, right? Flexibility in the place from where they want to work, right? And how they want to work, whether it is in which city they want to work or even in which office they want to work. Right? Earlier, there used to be a dedicated office for each employee, right? Now we are opening up saying you can come and work from anywhere, right? So that is there. And now the last thing is even the flexibility in terms of what they want to kind of a role that they want to pick up. Right?
Yeah.
So the flexibility is one thing which we are trying to extend in all the different form to try to ensure that we kind of retain the employees, or especially the key employees with us.
Got it. Great. Let's go back to Mayank. In the interest of time, if we can wrap up this question faster, that will be great.
Sure. So thanks, Rajiv. I think Rajiv has covered a major point of it, that we have to understand the what are the needs of the employee right now. So to keep them engaged and to keep them within the organization, especially the key talent. With all those aspects of flexibility, hybrid work environment, then working anywhere in the office or anywhere what they do. Even I'll talk about the employer side now. So more is that we are trying to see basically I want to draw a backup for all my talented people now. So we do not want to be very much aligned or very much dependent upon one talent what we have. So we are trying to create a backup of each and every key talent what we have. So we are running a program that's again came up with one of the meetings what we have done with my larger group into the outside organization also. So we are developing this talent within the organization, those who can overcome if we lose any key talent within us. But we do not want to lose any key talent within us. So for that, we are ring fencing them. We try to ring fence them with giving some sort of monetary benefit for a longer period of time, understanding their the personal needs also. Sometimes the employee is not in the office or not in the town and they want to stay for a longer period, though we are open in the house offices now. So what are the need of them? So more like understanding the needs of the employee, aligning more towards what is he or she looking for a shorter period of time, so that more confidence can be given, and ring fence to analyze with the business that who is important for you, what the best we can go ahead and do that. So we do that on a quarterly basis. It's a tedious activity. We do that, we ring fence, and we see what the best we can do. Is it a retention bonus, or giving them to some other role promotions? What the best we can go ahead and do that. But just a last statement is that the iteration, we all agree to it, is the young force were more who was looking after the iterations and many. I think the employees, those who are with us for a longer run and understand the importance, the way the companies is operating, basically all four of us are working in the esteemed organizations. So we know that how employer cares for you in the bad time. When it was there, the companies were seeing a lot of bad times, but how your employer has taken care of it. So more the young folks, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years experience, 6 to 3 years, if I'll say that, 6 months to 3 years, they're more towards the attraction towards money, talent, the attrition. So if we all go deep dive our data, we'll see that our top attrition trends is within 2 years, not 4 year, 5 year experience guys are leaving so high with us. So I think these are all the prospect. I would suggest that the companies, what we have done and the other companies would also be doing in that case.
Great. Thanks, Mayan. Sudarshan?
No, okay. So the quick one before I start. What do you think is the count of startups that are there in India? Take a guess. Recognized startups that are there in India today. Any guess, whatever number comes to your mind.
I'm sure they may be in hundreds.
87,000 plus recognized startups. Back in 2014, this number used to be 400 odd recognized startups, right? Recognized means they have raised some sort of money from someone. And I'm sure beyond that also across every corner, there are more companies popping up. Of the 87,000, 80% is fair to say is into either core technology or technology-led services, like Uber, the technology-led business, while some other company, the technology company altogether, right? So 80% is into a technology or technology-led business. And imagine that tells us broadly there are 70,000 plus different ideas being experimented to attract and retain talent across not just rewards, but across all the spheres of human resources. If human resource has 5 dimensions, we're saying every year 70,000 into 5, 3.5 lakh different ideas must have been tried. Even if, let's say, 1% of that worked, that's still 3,500 ideas. Even if 1% of that clicked, that's still 35 different new things that would have made the headlines. So imagine the turbulence that a established organization faces on this side, where people spoke of flexibility being given, and people spoke of how they are looking at but that initial spera of say 18 months or 12 months or even 6 months for that matter is where you will see people try and want to do so much today because of the available opportunities that you see, right? That as an employer, beyond the point, how do you attract and how do you retain is the larger question that people are dealing with. Comp, attraction, I mean, benefits is one part of it, long-term incentives, etc., is one part of it, careers is one part of it, but then at the end of the day, you also have to find more avenues as businesses. That's where I can converge all of this. As a business, you have to find more avenues to say that how do I create more impact in my jobs, right? Can I give them a role with a purpose, at least to maximum of them? Second, how do I show them mobility and growth and the aspiration that they want to see as individual? How do I bring some of those personal aspects into play? And for some of them, it's not money, it might just be something else. So how do I marry personal aspirations in the workplace to everything that I can offer, right? And the third most important part, obviously, at the end of the day, is what and who is your leadership, because that is where those are the set of people who are driving everything that you want to do on the ground, right? So if your manager sets an example for you by always being on time or always ensuring that he or she cares for the next in line, that care then percolates, right? And that care and belongingness then helps people retain a lot of talent. That's where kind of I converse this and give it up to.
Great, great. Thank you for always doing that, Sudarshan. Shripati, last thoughts. We have a minute and a half, so if we can put it across in a.
Okay, I'll not take much of your time. I think our panel has covered. So from that perspective, what I feel is people are, as an organization, from the retention perspective, regular movement from on-site to offshore, offshore to on-site. If you have that, you can have a greatest retention, what I can feel. And current young generation look for on-site opportunity more. I think that will be great idea to emphasize and enforce. Unless enforced, nobody is ready to release people. So, and also we have to take a buying from the customer, because moment they go to on-site, they will have a completely attachment to the customer, and customer put the capping that unless this cap, we don't want any replacement. And that's the caveat they'll bring it. So that we need to break the barrier. So in that way, we'll be able to retain for long term.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And it's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. This was an important conversation about compensation. And there's a lot that has gone in this an hour. And what I want to summarize here as compensation, as I was mentioning, somewhere it was a dry space where ideas and brainstorming was happening, but then now it's more alive. It's at a very different level. Also, when I look at it in a different aspect as an employee-employer engagement, this is an important aspect, because it is not only, now it's not only a demographic part of it, this is also becoming like an infographics part of it, knowing about the people, knowing about their aspirations, their dreams, their, where they feel insecure about, and how can the employer provide that security. So moving on from just the demographics part of it in the compensation space to the infographics part of it, that how well you know your employees, how you make that connection happen and the association happen. This is going to take the compensation space a very long way. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here. I just now invite Rajni for closing it. Before that, I have a surprise question for all of you. I want to just ask you one word that you would want to take or mention what compensation means to you. Just one word, because you're all the veterans in the industry. If I have to ask you to define compensation, how you look at it in one word. So I'll go with Mayank first. In one word, what is compensation for you?
In the industry, it is the only motivation.
Motivation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, one word. Value. Value for work.
Okay. Sudarshan?
I guess it's always a question at the end of the day. What is there and what is not there. So it's a question possible.
It's a question. Compensation is a question for you. Okay, interesting. Shripati?
It's a number game.
Number game. Okay, with that, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor to converse with all of you, and it's been a wonderful experience with all that knowledge and all the experience that you shared with us today. Over to you, Rajni.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Shraddha, for that surprise question. Yes, it really added value to this discussion. And okay, thanks to everyone on behalf of HR Open House One entire team. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the panel members for sharing their insights, for putting across their viewpoints on the compensation and employee benefit changing trends. Thank you, Shraddha, for driving this show so well. It couldn't have been better with anybody else, I'm sure.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sonal, Naresh, and his team for extending their support. We definitely look forward for more such conversations down the line. And till then, please stay tuned with us and we'll again catch up. Thanks a lot to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Bye.
panelists
Thank you.
also.
Thank you.
Enjoyed this time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
place. Bye.